gentlemen, we are here playing Project Cars 2 again, and really this is just a simple video on the setup I used when I did my 6 hours at Daytona for the Rolex 24. So it was a good stream. Had some people join in. Got a pretty rough race though. I screwed up, basically. So at one point I was trying to get an achievement, and that particular achievement was driving the Nordschleife in less than 8 minutes in the snow. Now, in order to help me achieve that, I turned on a bunch of assists, mainly the thing was stability control, some stuff like that. Basically, that was on, and I made a car and this GTE Corvette. I made a car with the setup and everything, and it was really good, and I really enjoyed driving it. And I didn't really realize this at the time, but I had gone in and I noticed that all those assists were on. I was like, oh, I don't want that on. I just want it to be authentic. I turned them all off. I turned it all to authentic. And this particular car only has traction control. It has no stability control. Well, I think it was set to low, but there was stability control, and it was aiding in my ability to drive the car with the particular setup. So naturally, we get to the race, and I'm like it's an hour before the race, and I'm like, I can't drive this car. Like, what is wrong with my car? I don't get it. And I get in there, and I'm like trying to adjust some things, because I'm like, what is there that I can possibly do to help? And during the stream, thanks to a viewer, pointed out, do you have stability control? And I was like, oh, that's right, I turned it off. Duh. So, I was kind of an idiot. I kind of had to deal with a crap car for 6 hours, ended up finishing dead last in the cars that were still running, and it really kind of sucked. It was going to be a really good race, and I screwed that up. But I'm very excited to say I'm going to do some more of those, because that was fun in general. Having a nice long stream where people can kind of come in and out, and maybe build something off of that. So if you didn't see that, my next one, I'm going to be doing the Daytona 500. I'll be sure to make a trailer for it and everything like I did for the Rolex thing. But let's go ahead and get into, I've worked on this car a little bit to make it not where it was when I had stability control on, but it's still a lot better than where it was. So, as you see here, we got our tires, brakes, and chassis. So one thing I will say here is you can kind of use the downforce to adjust some stability if you need more or less. Maybe you think you got a little too much. You can kind of adjust it. I think I can run on 6, so I'm going to actually put it there. Put on 7, trying stuff out. I didn't touch the caster. I saw no real reason to, honestly. If I did anything, I would make it probably a higher degree. Anti-roll bar is actually about as stiff as it can go, mainly because I need stability in the car. So once again, if I made it a little less, which it wasn't too terribly much less before when I had the stability on. So no big deal. Some camber, some negative 3.5 degrees camber, which I think I increased just by like 0.3 degrees, or technically more negative. Got a good ride height now. I might, it might need to go up a little bit. I'm not sure. I know something's rubbing a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what's rubbing. I've tried to work on it a little bit. You can only see it in the banked turns, though. So here was the part when I did, this was at 200. This was like one of the few things that was actually different from where I had it before. It was at 200 newtons per millimeter, so I increased it naturally to give this car some more stability. I couldn't make the inner roll bar any, I'm just going to call it a sway bar. I couldn't make the sway bar any thicker. Not that I necessarily wanted to, it's not necessarily what you always want to do in order to, get some stability. So I figured stiffening the spring rate would help in the whatever's hitting the ground or hitting the chassis, you know, something's hitting something. So that's not good, obviously. And honestly, it's probably more in the rear anyways. I might end up having to go in and, you know, stiffen both of them. Didn't change the rear camber angle. I didn't see any reason to. And then the rear ride height, I got it bumped up a bunch to help with the bottoming out in the rear end. Not sure it's helped too much, but I don't think it's not helped. So I'm kind of, you know, I'm still skeptical on that aspect of this car. The dampers, spent a little bit of time on these. I needed the stability on the fast corner. I don't know which number it is, you know, there's a fast corner in there. I'll point it out when we're going around. Needed stability on that. The car really likes to get loose, so my main adjustment here was really just lowering the fast and slow rear rebound. Like they are literally as low as they can go, which probably aids in the fact that stuff is bottoming out back there, maybe just a little bit more than it is in the front. Didn't mess with the bump transmission and rebound transition. I just, like, I know what it does, but it's not something I can personally, like, figure out, but I don't really know. Like, I don't know what's good. I don't know, like, I can't tell any benefit from, you know, doing certain things. Obviously, we got the help thing over there, but I just, you know, I don't know if it's like a big deal, honestly. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain because, like, I know what it does, but it's kind of hard to explain why I don't really know what to do with it. Increase my bump stops to help with the bottoming out. I think it's helped a little bit. I'm not exactly sure, to be completely honest, but it's really just going off the particular HUD that shows that stuff. So when it turns red, like, I know something's going on that's not good, so I got to kind of adjust for it. So also, you know, we got up here. This is the other main adjustment I have here. It's not as stiff as it can go, but it's not. It's just in the middle. Just to, you know, I need to be able to turn when I brake. It just, you know, it's there. I've ended up turning this up. I might actually want to put it back down. I think it was on 1 initially. So here we are on the traction control. This is the only things I think I've even thought about working on. I literally changed nothing else on the screen. Traction control is at 9%. The higher the value is, the less power is taken away to prevent the wheel spin. So I've tried it up at 25% even. I mean, it works. You know, I'm going to keep it. I might even put it up to 10. You know, we'll just leave it down there for now. I don't need to concentrate too much on doing that stuff right now. Never touched ABS and the fuel map. So the thing here, this is lean, this is normal, this is rich. So it's on normal. Didn't change anything over here. This is where it is, though. Everything appears to be off except for the clutch LSD, which I personally don't know a whole lot about any of this stuff anyways, so I kind of just avoid it just because of that. So, alright, we'll go ahead and save it up now. We'll go ahead and drive. And the thing about this particular track was it's a fairly easy track to really learn. There's not a lot of turns because there's a lot of straightaway involved in the last half of the track. But if you put the practice in, you will get better. You will get through turns faster. Personally, I hate pit exit here. Pit exit is stupid. It's so tiny. It feels like I feel like the car barely fits right through there. Once we get over here, it's not so bad. But you know, I usually brake just right around where the black here from tire being laid down at full speed. That's a pretty good place to start braking, is right where it comes across the dash lines for pit road. And this is the turn that I was talking about where it would like to spin me out, but we got no problems. Now, I honestly can pretty much go to the end of those cones for this turn and it be okay, but race mode, I'm generally braking about halfway. I usually brake right at the beginning of these cones right there, As you can tell, maybe I'm braking a little bit too hard. It's kind of screeching a little bit. When I run my full go lap, I'm going to not talk. I'm going to make sure I concentrate on it a little more. I might say some things, you know, but it's going to be a more concentrated lap in order to aid in that. Now, this turn up here, with the stability on, I was able to brake at the start of this Rolex sign, and now I usually kind of go a little bit before, just because of the lack of stability sometimes, and it's kind of a race mode thing, you know. I just want to be able to easily get into the turn, but not too slow. So we'll come around here, we'll start this lap. Just maybe, you know, the best thing I can say is really just pay attention to the, you know, the throttle control and the brake control there on the speedometer thing, the HUD there. Now, I will say I brake kind of right before that dash line. Usually you can even brake at it. Second gear all the way through this corner. I will be kind of running a little bit slower of a lap, probably even, just because I don't want to mess up too much. You can even run first gear through some of these turns as well, so, you know, it's not, you don't have to use second gear, you don't have to necessarily use the gears I use. Typically I will use first gear for this turn. As you see, I wasn't quite turning enough there. Had to kind of let off. I typically will use first gear for here too. Unless it's raining too much. If the track is really wet, then I will not go to first gear in order to prevent some wheel spin there. But, you know, when it's dry out and conditions are good, you could power your way around this track if you want. So we'll come into this turner here. Once again, you know, just a little bit before, just to aid in our ability to get through this corner. I try to kind of avoid the last right-hand turn going through that bus stop thing. It tends to get the car out of whack. Now, you can definitely hit it if you want, but if I do hit it, I'm not able to really go full throttle, so I sort of just, it's kind of why I just want to avoid it most of the time. But that's a lap here. We'll go another one. So we're just over 151 there. You can definitely get below 150. As you can see, I got my fastest last timer going there. Fastest lap timer. Going through the grass a little bit. As you can see, we got it over a second already. I'm still not going as hard as I possibly can. I will also add, usually when I shift when it's in the red there on my screen on the bottom. Usually about right when it gets into 2. Usually in the lower gears it's moving faster, so it usually makes it up to the blue. But I noticed there's a loss of power. The power really, the horsepower really just slows down. When you get much past, especially into the blue, you lose horsepower. So it's not that curve on the graph is not going up anymore. So you want to shift before that, so you're always gaining the power. Kind of in the last half of the red, really, though, is where I've noticed it's really where it starts to drop. It kind of sticks around the same one for a little while, so you can still kind of stay there. There's a 149.8 though. And, you know, that's kind of a lap. I definitely meant to do a replay, but that's all right. I'll get that in afterwards, I guess. I'll kind of show a replay of a lap, you know, and then that'll pretty much be the end. I mean, I kind of went in a little bit in depth, I guess. I mean, not too much. Kind of my thought process, really, I guess. And I'll definitely want to do a Daytona 500, though, next. I'm not sure when. Probably not next week. It might have to be the week after the 500, but we'll see. I'm trying to decide if I want to use this game or if I want to use NASCAR Heat 2, because this game is the sim that I have right now that is like good. So I really like, and I've really been enjoying playing this game, so I really want to use it. But obviously, when it comes to a NASCAR race, Heat 2 will probably be better off. But I'm gonna have to do a race here. We'll see. You know, who knows? But let me know in the comments if you have a preference, if I can talk, between which game maybe you'd rather see a Daytona 500 be played in, and it'll be the full race. So, you know, no worries about that. It'll be streamed, and then we'll have the details out for that later with the trailer. So, yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments with that. And if you found this video helpful, please be sure to hit that like button. And as always, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.